Eileen, thank you so much for the introduction. And today we're going to talk about cloud native automations and how they might benefit from a booster rocket. I'm actually joined by Valerie Fowler and Kai Weirder from the product management team, and we're going to look at some of the points that David made in the previous presentation. So, as you heard David say, it is very normal these days to find cloud automation in our customers. Actually, you'll hear that they're not just using one tool, they're using multiple tools to accomplish the goal. And sometimes it's actually more than one. It's a lot more cloud native automation solutions that are out there in the wild. So, with that, Valerie, maybe I can ask you, do we as Broadcom see the same trend today in automation?
Hi, Dave. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the same things with the customers that I'm working with. There's a large number of cloud automation tools available. Generally, I see these tools fall into one of two categories. The first category is what I'll refer to as the workflow automation solutions. Very common ones we see are things like Airflow, Google Cloud Composer, or something like, Azure Logic Apps. These tools can be used to automate a variety of things. And then the other category would be the built-in schedulers that are available as part of, certain cloud applications, particularly with the ETLs and the ERPs. These are designed to be application specific. Some examples are things like Databricks, Azure Data Factory, or Azure Synapse. So, with all of these options available, you can see just how easy it is to get into that cloud tool sprawl challenge, particularly if customers are being directed to use these cloud native solutions that are available. Quite often, there just seems to be no well thought out strategy, and each application team is free to, choose their tool of choice.
Okay. Kai, maybe I can ask you, as customers are staying within one vendor, for example, Google or Azure or the AWS, obviously it must be all well thought out and well integrated together, right?
So in conversations with our customers, we are hearing of both technological as well as organizational silos based on which cloud vendor provides the service. But even for customers with a single cloud strategy, sometimes the service or use case it fulfills is so specific that all subject matter expertise is actually with a dedicated team. And then this team typically has no visibility into how these critical business processes are delivered end to end. So all they focus on really is their part of the puzzle. So in the old days, right, we used to call these islands of automation. And Valerie, you just touched on Airflow. So I remember we had a customer that was an early adopter of Airflow as a managed cloud service. And when moving their use case into production, right, they soon realized it was a black box for the central operations team. So if the service was slow, if it had issues, or anything else would happen, it would have really significant impact on the SLAs that were already in place with the business stakeholders. So the importance of having a centralized platform for orchestrating these disparate cloud services should really not be underestimated, right? It's really the only way to gain visibility and control over business processes end to end.
It's kind of funny that I hear you say islands of automation and silos. I think we've all been through that in the past. I'm thinking in the day, the new technologies of service-oriented architecture or even big data, which came with a whole ecosystem that had multiple ways of orchestrating and automating, but they never looked at the whole picture. They never looked at the end-to-end business flow. And let's face it, IT is a service provider to the business, so it's judged on the end-to-end result it delivers to the business, not the individual technologies. But it's interesting. It's a problem as old as time, I guess, in IT. So David discussed some of the challenges that our customers are seeing, and some of them are actually the time it takes to build an automation. It also, reporting seems to be very, very common and very frustrating experience because you have to piece all these technologies together, and then you have to resolve operational problems that might span multiple technologies and multiple tools. So piecing everything together, creating a view across all the different tools to report and triage. What is Broadcom bringing to the table to help with these challenges? Val, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you first.
Yeah, sure. There definitely are a lot of challenges that get introduced when there are multiple cloud automation solutions being used. But in a number of cases, I've seen where it does make sense to use some of these cloud workflow or built-in scheduling solutions. For example, some of them that I mentioned earlier, because they can address specific or immediate needs. So, what you need in order to prevent the challenges that these disparate tools can bring is a solution that can be overarching, something that can integrate with any number of cloud applications and tools, as well as your existing on premise workload, providing that manager of managers or orchestrator of orchestrators model. This will give you that single point of control, regardless of the varied environments and applications that you're dealing with. As you already mentioned, Dave, this is the same challenge that organizations have had for many years. It's just that the applications being used and the locations of where these things are running just keeps changing.
Okay, so in the past, that meant I have to really brush up on my REST skills, on my SDKs, and while doable, I have to build all these integrations from scratch. Is that still the experience that I'm starting to look at, Kai?
Yeah, well, you'd think so. So on the surface, building automation around a cloud service, seems quite easy, right? I can look at its REST API. I can write some fairly basic, maybe Python code to make it do something, right? But now multiply this by the number of cloud services, potentially different cloud providers, right? And thus maybe very different authentication methods, or having a different team that needs to do something similar, but a little bit different, and basically you start to reinvent the wheel, and teams start writing their own code, and you soon end up with a level of complexity that no one needs. And I think I started this off by saying, it should be quite simple, right? So what if you had access to pre-built templates that do this, right? Or integrations, as we call them, for common cloud services that are independent of the cloud vendor? Or what if these would be, consumable, in a very easy way by all teams so that you have a consistent experience? And what if we could even do away with the complexity of REST APIs and writing code and provide a kind of fill in the blanks type of automation? So at Broadcom, we provide exactly that integration experience to our customers. So this not only significantly reduces time to market, right, but also helps to drive adoption of a centralized automation platform.
Okay, and then I think one of the other advantages we bring to the table is I can put together a few of these integrations and create functional elements. So, for example, if I have an issue in one of the cloud technologies and I have some output, I can then put that together into a workflow that grabs the output, opens up a ServiceNow ticket, attaches the output, assigns it to the right team, and reusing that workflow speeds up even more the time to market or the time to value. Now, with that, once I have everything inside Broadcom Automation, so Val, as you talked about the manager of managers approach, what does that do for reporting, for auditing, for service levels?
Yeah, the Broadcom automation solutions have done a really good job over the years of making things like audit and compliance reporting really easy for companies. Now, if application teams are allowed to use different cloud automation solutions, where do you go to get that single source of truth? This becomes a real challenge. But the good news is, if you employ the orchestrator of orchestrators model that I mentioned before with your existing Broadcom automation solution, you'll automatically inherit the audit and compliance capabilities for your cloud workloads that you already have for your on-premise workload today. And another really important benefit of tool consolidation that I want to mention has to do with SLA management. With point solutions, your view and any analytics that might be available is limited to a particular application or tool. But when you consolidate to a Broadcom automation solution, you expand it to that of the whole business process. Regardless of how many different environments and applications the end-to-end processing might span across, the consolidated solution provides you with that easy, centralized view for SLA management, as well as for monitoring, managing, and reporting.
Sounds like there's some good answers for the challenges our customers are or will be facing. So as we heard, some of our customers or most of our customers are using at least one automation tool, if not more automation tools. And David brought up an interesting statistic about consolidating these tools. And he mentioned that while 8% have already consolidated, 77% are looking at or planning to consolidate. So as companies are looking at this consolidation effort, there's obviously some items they should look out for and take into consideration, such as, for example, on-premise and cloud. And Kai, maybe you can give some perspective on that.
Sure. So the majority of our customers tell us they run a hybrid setup, right? So they have cloud, right, or multiple clouds, and then still also on-premises infrastructure and applications. So some of these systems will in fact stay on-premises for the foreseeable future. And that's not because of the technology involved per se, but because, for example, of regulatory requirements or local legislation. So as Valerie indicated just now when she spoke about the manager of managers concept, this applies very well here, right? A centralized solution that can orchestrate multiple automation systems that span both on-premises and cloud. So another thing to consider, you're typically looking at maybe decades of operational experience in automating business critical processes that all have their origins on premises, right? So are we really willing to throw that out of the window now that we have modern cloud services that happen to have some basic automation capabilities, right? So organizations will continue to benefit from their investment in Broadcom's enterprise automation solutions. But of course, our customers' cloud architects need that awareness, right? They need to understand that their existing automation can already integrate with all their current and future cloud services.
Okay, and just to reiterate something, you said again the word integration. So what you're saying is it isn't necessary to rip everything out and start from scratch, essentially.
Absolutely. So I spoke about integrations helping to increase adoption and time to market. But at the same time, these cloud integrations help our customers in that there is no need to rip and replace. So when transitioning from an on-premises business application to its cloud equivalent, customers can introduce the new cloud integration while maintaining the existing on-premises integration, right? So this enables customers to basically transition at their own pace versus a big bang approach. So the workflows that drive your business process can remain largely the same as you would effectively be replacing or adding maybe a single workflow step. So another way of describing that is automation within the target system may change, but the overall orchestration of the business process end to end can really remain as is.
Okay, and these integrations, Val, maybe you can tell us a little bit about where do I find them? Do I have to call support? Do I have to Google them? Where are they actually located?
Yeah, Dave, over the past couple of years, we've made a significant investment in expanding the capabilities of our enterprise automation solutions. And we now provide a variety of new integrations to a number of cloud native applications. The Broadcom Automation Marketplace provides a one-stop shop experience where you can both discover and download the integrations required to support your business. So we're working to make it, as simple as we can for our end users, to be able to consume these new capabilities.
Okay, probably stop by there after the session. So as customers are moving to the cloud, we see a variety of different cloud types being happening. We see, the public clouds multi-vendor, we see on-premises private clouds, we see the data centers, and then last but not least, we see SaaS, and obviously this makes cloud a little bit of a moving target for the foreseeable future. Now, Kai, maybe you can help us a little bit. What do I have to do if I want to put an agent in the cloud?
So Dave, the perception is that with cloud, everything should be API driven, right? And thus essentially agentless. So of course, the integrations that come with Broadcom's automation solutions are exactly that. However, as I said earlier, there's still a fair amount of lift and shift that occurs as part of cloud migration. So systems move to the cloud, but essentially their APIs don't change. So typically this means any existing agent can either stay where it was before or move to the cloud as well alongside the business application. Also, for some time now, Broadcom Automation also supports running agents as containers. And this gives customers really a cloud agnostic solution as to where and how they want to deploy agent technology.
And when you mention cloud agnostic, Valerie, maybe I can get your perspective how customers can integrate multiple cloud providers. I'm thinking GCP, AWS, Azure. If they have more than one cloud, how can we help them put that picture together?
Yeah, when considering your automation strategy, you want a solution that doesn't lock you into any one cloud provider and that has the most flexibility to meet your business needs with minimal of effort. So the less tightly coupled you are with any one provider, the better off you'll be in the long run. So today, your environment may include on-premise, private cloud, and one or more public clouds. Tomorrow, the strategy could change and your collection of environments could look very different. So you need a solution that is overarching and can encompass all of those various options.
Okay. And I want to bring back one more point. I talked briefly about SaaS, and David did too. So we're starting to see a lot of SaaS offerings, especially in the ERP space, so like Oracle, SAP, Informatica. As I see customers moving to the cloud or to SaaS with that, how has that impacted our customers? And Kai, maybe you can talk a little bit about what Broadcom does to help them.
Yeah, so we see that these critical business apps, and you mentioned ERP, right? They are moving to the cloud, again, either via lift and shift, but of course, the vendors that provide ERP, SAP, Oracle, for example, have cloud versions, SaaS, of their business application portfolio as well. So at Broadcom, we have been investing heavily in ensuring continuous support, right, for both the on-premises versions as well as the cloud versions of the same business applications. So this really means there should be no barriers to moving to the cloud as we ensure our SAP and also Oracle cloud integrations or on-premises integrations, remain fully certified. So another example around, for example, ETL would be Informatica, right? So here we also continue to support Informatica on-prem as well as the newer Informatica cloud service.
Okay. One point that David brought up, the cloud architect. So it's a new role that we see a lot with our customers. Val, what should we be aware of when people interact with the cloud architect in a company?
Yeah, that's a good topic. I've found that it's really important to pull them into the conversation when it comes to automation because having the right strategy from the beginning is really important. First, they need to understand what your existing enterprise solution is capable of today. Many of them are not familiar with all of the, what I'm going to call out of the box capabilities that your business has grown to be reliant upon over the past couple of decades. All of these features and capabilities remain just as important as you transition your workload to the cloud. And then the second thing that they need to be aware of is how the Broadcom automation solutions are evolving to be able to manage the cloud automation requirements. They need to be made aware of the growing list of cloud integrations that continue to be added and made available through our automation marketplace. Having all of this information will help them to form the best automation strategy for your business.
I know we're running up on time, but before I give it back to Eileen, I want to do a quick summary, like one item that is most important for you or that was a revelation for you. Kai, what's the one thing that you reduced today's presentation onto?
Dave, that would be the fact that automation from Broadcom is cloud ready, right? We provide all the capabilities that enable our customers to leverage their investment in cloud. So we have these cloud vendor agnostic integrations available that are easy to consume and use. But also looking at it from a technology point of view in cloud, how automation from Broadcom, for example, supports containers, not only to leverage things like containerized workloads, but also leverage the elasticity that cloud provides, right? So to handle, for example, peak workload demand.
Okay. Val, what's today's point for you?
Yeah, I would have to say it would be educate yourself on what your existing solution is capable of, and then educate the rest of your organization, because they're just going to automatically assume that a legacy solution won't have a play in the cloud world, and it couldn't be further from the truth.
And I think for me, it was the cloud architect why I brought it up. It is really to bring them into your conversations early for awareness, because some of them are not aware, but also for directions to help them shape the direction. And with that, that's all the time we had today. Eileen, thank you so much, and back to you.